Hey guys, welcome back to the Backhand Podcast. I'm your host, Adam Vilchis, and this is my co-host, John Hunt.
Howdy.
As you can see, he's drinking hot chocolate or coffee. What is it?
It's tea. It's jasmine tea. I've been up for let's see. It's 9:30. I've been up for 21 hours.
Let's go.
I've driven for 10 hours. I've done business for 6 hours. And I've had meaningful talks with other people. So it's been nice, but I am also exhausted, and I don't plan to go to bed till around 2. I'll probably be up for 24 hours.
See, that is part of what we're doing.
It's business owning 101.
Woo!
Get seriously. Also, if you have a girlfriend, always make sure she buys a ticket inside the region that's not 4 hours away. I think she saved $300 on it.
It makes sense, though.
But I spent 10 hours driving there.
So what? You save money.
No, not. I spent $60 in gas. I spent $30 in food. So that's already $90. I gotta do that twice. Because I gotta go pick her up.
180. So you
So
still
180 plus 20 hours wasted.
But you save yourself $120.
My time is much more valuable than $120.
Okay. Anyways.
So here's the thing. No, we're not leaving this subject because I'm salty.
No,
salty. No. Okay, so
this podcast is not about your personal issues.
well, it's honestly it's good. They get to know more about me now. It's all about me. No, not really. Anyway, so what I get paid an hour for just my handyman stuff, which is just this is my do whatever hourly rate. It's $20 an hour. 20 times 20 is $400. I'm losing.
But you don't work every day.
I had people asking me if I could work today. I do work every day now, actually, because I'm getting more clients. People are getting more busy, and I have more stuff. Hold on. So in reality, I'm wasting $580 because of this $300.
Thank you for doing something nice.
Yeah, I love her, and I would do it again.
But you're being... Stop.
I'm saying time is valuable. That's what I'm saying. Guys, your time is valuable, but you
don't
have
listen
to... John. Where's the power button on this thing?
I love you, bro.
We're not doing a podcast anymore.
All right, guys, welcome to the...
Your time is valuable, so make your time valuable, in other words.
Welcome to the Purple Pill, the segment of the podcast where we talk about world news and try to give a little bit more of a Christian perspective behind it, or keep you informed of some things that you probably have missed and probably want more details about.
Are you calling our viewers uninformed?
Sometimes. Probably. They probably don't have time for everything, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, then...
Because time is valuable.
Yeah,
John?
Exactly.
Shush.
Yes.
All right,
Bro,
we're going to be talking about two things today. We're going to be talking about... the Peruvian politics that's been happening over there, mostly because I am in fact Peruvian.
What?
Yes. And the other thing we're going to be talking about is the prisoner exchange between Russia and America. What were you going to say?
I thought you were American. We are PC, not really.
Okay, just to explain what's going on in Peru right now. Peru, okay, South American politics. I'm be on my little soapbox for a little bit. But I'm going to talk about this. Okay. South American politics is crazy. It's very volatile. It's very dangerous. Things happen almost every single day. But I feel like nobody ever cares. Not really when it comes to the world. Because I feel like there's a lot of coverage when it comes to like Russia, what China's doing, what's happening in the EU, a lot of Middle East stuff. Mm-hmm. But not really anything about South America. Mm-hmm. But there's a ton of stuff that happens in South America. And as a Peruvian, it's kind of frustrating.
Why don't you think at least the Western world, or at least the Northwestern world, pays attention to the Southwestern world?
Because I don't think people perceive us as a threat.
Yeah?
At all. I think they pay attention to things that are more of a threat. So they pay attention to North Korea because of nuclear weapons. They pay attention to China because they have a lot of control over the economy and everything like that. And they pay attention to Russia because, well, who wouldn't? ever since the Cold War, and they pay attention to the EU because like a lot of what they do affects our country as well. But no, and then the Middle East, that's kind of self-explanatory.
Yeah.
But like South America, the only thing that usually people care about when it comes to South American politics is our border safe or not? Which, granted, I totally understand, and I think that we should have a protected border. I'm totally with y'all on that.
Yo, I had this idea while I was driving. So I already said I drove for 10 hours today. I had this idea because during this podcast, somebody brought it up. It was actually this guy who, I forgot his name, but his mom crossed the border, and then he came back to get him. And when they tried to cross the border again, they were caught. But 2 days later, they tried again and got over. And of course, he made it and became this super successful brick and mortar store. I forgot what exactly they did. But that got me thinking about, well, it also made me think of Here Comes the Boom. And you know how he works as this immigrant teacher.
Oh, this is a movie, by the way.
Yes. And so it's, what's his name? Kevin, is it Kevin?
Yes.
Kevin something, I forgot his name. But he plays, he's in Grown Ups, he's in Grown Ups 2. He's in a lot of movies.
Kevin James.
He's a really good actor. But he plays this kind of like this class for immigrants who teaches people about the United States, and so that they can get their.
He's a high school teacher, and in order to save his high school, he decides to take up other odd jobs, and one of them is teaching immigrants on how to get their citizenship in preparation for that. And in the process of doing so, he meets a UFC fighter who tells him that he can make way more money to save his school by fighting in the UFC. So
it made me think that we should start fighting. No, that's completely a joke. No, it made me think of this idea of creating a, you know, like how we want to get into education eventually, but creating a, I don't think I want to do government funded because then they can do whatever. Yeah, they can control it. But a privately funded education institute to help educate these immigrants on the United States, because that's what's required to get your green card. Is that correct? Or is that just your citizenship? But have people from that culture teach them, so that there's no real language barrier. They can teach them English, because they have to know English, correct? Yeah, they have to know English. So somebody who's fluent in both languages, and somebody who knows their culture, so that they can learn more efficiently, and have it in a beneficial area, so that it promotes. What's the word? I mean, of course, they're already driven for wanting to come to America to try to make a living, but in a place where it doesn't keep them in, I'll say, the slums or the ghetto, because typically that's where they get put back. And it's sad. So I want to keep them out, to promote them to go to see what it's like. So a place clean, sanitary, nice. Yeah, I think is the best word for it. So I don't know. I just thought of that, and I was like, yeah, I think that's a really good idea.
I think that's a fantastic idea. Back to politics.
That's politics, kind
of. So what's happening in Peru? So we have a new president. It's the first female president.
Let's go, equality.
We've had 6 presidents in the last 6 years because of corruption and impeachment.
It's a new year every year.
Oh, yeah. So what happened was, our former president, Pedro Castillo, decided to do something crazy. This was his 3rd impeachment trial. So he's been doing some stuff that has been like fraudulent, and people have been not liking what he's been doing. A lot of people do not like him because he's one of the first leftist presidents we've had. And they tie him to a lot of the terrorist organizations that kind of plagued our country for a long time, including the Shining Path. So nobody really liked him. They wanted to impeach him.
I got a quick question. Is leftist, is that terminology the same over there as it is here?
Yes.
Okay, kind of promoting more
socialism.
Socialism, social ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Bet. I was just curious about that. I didn't know if
that's universal.
Okay, bet.
So Castillo is his third impeachment trial. So what he decides to do is probably one of the stupidest things you can ever do as a president. He looks at Congress that's trying to impeach him before they congregate and to impeach him.
Mm-hmm.
He decides to dissolve Congress.
Did he get like acid or anything like that?
What?
To dissolve Congress. Acid.
Stop.
Why?
Stop. Anyways, he tries to dissolve Congress. I'm gonna kill
abolish them.
Yes, he's trying to get rid of Congress, and oh my gosh.
Pure entertainment, bro.
Basically, starting a coup, and he wanted to rewrite the Constitution and start a new Constitution, which is like, that's not good. So what happened was during this whole process, the reason I'm really upset about that was basically this: my grandfather was a congressman for Peru. And he fought and protected what we have today. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people died during this time. Mm-hmm. And what he would have done if he succeeded would have basically taken everything my grandfather fought for and turned it on his head. Oof. And that really made my blood boil.
Yeah.
It really did frustrate me. Because I was like, wow, so many people dead because of these actions, and now he's just going to like that. So I was not okay with it. Mm-hmm. So, but the thing is, Congress met and they all voted. Mm-hmm. A pretty broad majority voted, got rid of him.
What, do you know what the percentage or like the percentage rate was it? Because like if there is like any like people wanting to not impeach him, I mean, it's kind of sus, at least in my opinion.
You think it was?
I mean, it's kind of like them shooting themselves in the foot, because if he wants to dissolve Congress, but they're like, nah, let's not impeach him, then, like, that would make me think, like, did he promise them anything, or is there, like, anything for them in this newfound, or potentially newfound, political climate?
Oh my gosh. I know it was talked about.
Here, I'll look it up.
But anyways, so Castillo was voted out, and once he was voted out, he was imprisoned because of his actions. So immediately he was already imprisoned, and then the new president, her name is Dina Boluarte. She is the first female president, and so this is kind of common in Peru. A lot of our presidents have been imprisoned and have been taken because of corruption and everything that's going on with that. Like, it's okay. Personally, how I feel, it is frustrating to know that you've had how many presidents over like the course of 6 years? Six presidents in the course of 6 years. That is insane. Mm-hmm. That should not be happening. That should not be going on, right? But the thing is, on top of that, people don't understand. Like, okay, so like possibly like a president in a year. No, 6 presidents in 6 years, 5 different presidents in the last 25 months.
Had how many presidents?
5 presidents in 25 months.
In 2 years and 1 month.
Yes.
Dude, that's crazy. That's insane.
That isn't, yeah, like picture that. Imagine that. That is insane. And it's really upsetting for the Peruvian people because there's division, of course. There's some people who want him out and they're actually really happy. And then currently what's happening right now is a lot of people are actually mad and they're demanding the release of President Pedro Castillo. Protesters in Peru have erected new blockades and expanded their demonstrations in several regions as calls for new elections and the release of detained former President Pedro Castillo. Hundreds using burning tires, woods, and rocks on Monday to block an airport runway in the country's second largest city, Arequipa. Arequipa is in southern Peru. It's where our volcano is. It's a nice volcano. Yeah. In anger over Castillo's impeachment and arrest. The death toll from the protests rose to at least 4, authorities said, after clashes on Sunday between protesters and police in the southern city. 2 dead and at least 5 injured, including a police officer, as demonstrators attempted to storm the city's airport. Another protester died on Monday in demonstrations in Arequipa. Minister of Defense Alberto Artolio told lawmakers while 1 person was killed in the state, that includes Andaluyas, according to legislators. The protesters expanded most notably in Peru's northern and Andean towns, despite a pledge to hold early elections by President Dina Boluarte, who was quickly sworn in to replace Castillo following his removal last week. And basically what she says, I have decided to present a bill to reach an agreement with Congress to bring forward general elections to April 2024 in the coming days. So basically we'll have a 7th president by this April.
So, like, she's not going to stay in office?
No. Because it's really volatile.
Volatile? Yeah.
Because...
Huh.
So, okay, so some people be wondering why the protests. A lot of people wanted him out, wanted people impeached. Okay, I want to explain the politics of Peru. Right. Lima, Peru,
the capital,
holds 10 million people.
That's a lot.
That's a freaking ton of people.
Yeah.
Just to give you a picture, what is the population of Dallas, Texas?
I think it's like 3.2 million.
1.2.
Oh, I was way off. Well, I got the 0.2 right. What about New York?
New York City?
Yeah.
8.4.
Oh my gosh.
10 million people.
That's insane.
But here's the thing. That's not an accurate number because nobody ever... the census, a lot of people don't document. Why? Because Lima's known as the growing city.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened was during the terrorist time, a bunch of the people on the Andes and everything, they came to Lima and they started expanding Lima. So they started building. So they started claiming land illegally and started just building. So there's a bunch of just abandoned like slums basically, and it's ever growing.
Dang.
So it's a lot of people, right? So Lima basically dictates a lot of what happens in Peru. They're basically imagine Texas, right? Austin is the deciding factor for the entire state of Texas.
Everybody would hate that.
They would hate that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because they're a little bit more left-leaning and the rest of Texas is right-leaning, right? Mm-hmm. But imagine that. That's basically what Peru is like. One city decides everything for the rest of the country, while the rest of the country is not like that. Mm-hmm. And they're all devastated and it's very poor. Because Lima is the only one, it's the only city in Peru you can see, because Peru is technically a third world country. Mm-hmm. In Lima, you can see it become from first world to third world pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. When you go to Miraflores, which is by the beach, is the cultural hub. It's like it's beautiful. Skyscrapers, businesses, wow, it's blooming. Once you start to go outside of Lima, the outskirts of it, towards Sinagia, which is like a hill city, you will see like the grass just stop immediately and it's just dirt.
Dang.
It is like, it's terrible. But that's the rest of Peru.
Just dirt?
Just third world.
Okay.
Barren. And so what happened is a lot of the other regions in Peru, they're a little bit more left-leaning because a lot of them are indigenous and everything like that, and they kind of do support the idea of socialism and everything like that, because that's probably it is like a plague on entire South America. Socialism is becoming such a big thing for all South American countries, despite what happened in Venezuela. So they saw what happened in Venezuela. People don't care.
Yeah.
They don't understand. This is like, okay, some people will be like, like socialism can work. No, it can't. It never has, never will. Mm-hmm. It's a fairy tale. Yeah. If we lived in a perfect world where nobody had any selfish intention or ambition, yeah, it would. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, we live in a sinful world. Yeah. And it's unfortunate. And yes, God will is redeeming. His love is redeeming, and He can save all of us. And as long as we are willing and confess Him as Lord, absolutely. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing: not everyone's going to do that. So we don't live in a perfect world. We live in a broken world. And anybody that thinks that socialism will work, I'm sorry, but it will never, ever, ever work. No matter, doesn't matter if you're, we're in America, we're different. It's not going to work. Mm-hmm. This stuff.
I know that the main premise of socialism is that everybody gets the same,
Mm-hmm.
At least at its core, that's what it is. And I know me personally, with how much I give for the things that I want, like I like I want somebody else to work for the stuff that I'm trying to get to. Like if I want to be a billionaire, like I don't want somebody who didn't even try to be a billionaire, because then that negates everything that I just did for all this this learned experience. Because I think in all honesty, money does equate to your hard work, unless of course you obtained it illegally. Anyway, there is some socialized things in America already, which or like let's see. Yeah, so like public transportation, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I know in a lot of European countries they have socialized healthcare, and it does save a lot of people. But at the end of the day, like somebody has to pay for that, and of course, the government will pay that. Well, say like that would increase taxes, and taxes are already going up and up and up. So like in the grand, like I think in the big picture, like if socialism at its core is not a good thing. It may have some quality things, as in to help take care of people who maybe are less fortunate, in the sense of potentially healthcare or transportation or let's see, or like food or anything like that. But I do think there's better ways to do it than to socialize it.
Mm-hmm. So basically, that's like what's happening in South America right now. It's like the socialism plague, the influence of Venezuela on the countries, because a lot of the Venezuelans, they fled, and we took in a lot of Venezuelan immigrants. I remember it. I was there. You can hear the accent. They came in and they're trying to figure out the city, and we help them out, try to associate them with our culture, and like try to get them like all settle in. It's a plague. It's terrible. And so what happened was, but it's a battle. Corruption in Peru is major. So what happened was Pedro Castillo. It was the reason why he was voted in. Basically, imagine this. It was basically our Hillary Clinton versus Trump election.
Dang.
Because it was Castillo versus Kiko Fujimori. And you know who Kiko Fujimori is? No. She is the daughter of a president called Alfredo Fujimori. And he was best friends with my grandpa.
Oh, dope.
This president served for, I think, 10 years. He was ruthless. Because there was a lot of terrorism in Peru, known as the Shining Path. They were socialist terrorists. He was imprisoned because basically he went a little too far and it violated a lot of human rights. So he was imprisoned. Dang. So his daughter decides to run for president. And they know that if they elect her, she's going to release her father from prison, which a lot of people don't want to do. So it's like a better or worse. So it's right versus left. It's pretty big. And some people don't like Castillo because they assume there are reports, don't know if it's true or not, that he's tied with the Shining Path. All this stuff. So then he's impeached despite his corruption. And it is 101. To answer your question earlier, what was the vote? It was 101 to 6.
Why did the other 6 not vote to impeach him?
Probably because they sided with him. And then 10 abstained.
10, like they chose not to vote? I don't know. Like, I mean, like I was saying before, like those 6 that voted to keep him, of course, they're probably like politically in bed with him. I don't know. I would, if I were a part of the Peruvian Congress, I would look a little bit harder into those people, personally, just because he staged a coup. He wanted to dissolve Congress. He wanted to dissolve democracy.
And rewrite the Constitution.
Which I haven't, of course, read it. But I assume it's along the lines of human rights.
It is. It's Peru. It's like America. It's a democratic republic.
Okay. So, if these people are wanting to basically abolish it for basically a dictatorship,
Mm-hmm.
do you want to keep those people in place? Type of thing, you know?
No, that's why they voted to get rid of him.
To get rid of Castillo, yeah. But these 6 Congress people,
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't know. I would take a closer look at that. For the 10 people that abstained, that's also a bit sus too. Just because, at least this is my opinion, there's always 3 answers to something.
Mm-hmm.
Either you support something, you don't support something, or you're in the middle. Or you abstain. Which, most of the time, if it does come to human rights, then it's like, if you're not standing up for the people who are less fortunate,
Mm-hmm.
then, if you're not standing up for the people less fortunate, then it's basically, what you're doing is not helping them back up.
Well,
so it's the same equivalent as pushing them back down.
Counter question, because I agree with you,
Mm-hmm.
but my counter question is this: as a congressman, what is your job?
At least in America, it's to represent the people who voted you in, or your state, your county, your local government.
So if the majority because there are protests saying they should have not impeached him, and that's happening in the Indians, the indigenous people on the outskirts, and at Arequipa and everywhere. They're like, why did they impeach him? Why did they do that? So, those Congress represent them.
Mm-hmm.
Are they doing their job as Congress people, or should they go against their doing against their job and voting them out?
Okay, I do want to change my answer. I think the job of a congressman is to uphold the standard. So, like, the job of a congressman here would to be uphold the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, all our founding documents, because that's what our country is built off of. This amazingly written, beautiful poetry. That's our foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And if, like, these people may have voted you in, but if it, of course, you're not standing for what the entire country represents, which is freedom, then what are you really standing for?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the people vote you in to make sure that you have their best interests, but also, and this is a genuine question of mine, like, even in America, for the people who don't understand why things are the way that they need to be, like, why, for the most part, capitalism is good. It promotes competitiveness, it promotes growth, it promotes all this stuff. If you work for it, because for the people who are good, they're competitive. Now, where people say, oh, well, do you not want to pay your taxes or anything like this? Well, there's rules in place, there's systems in place that you get around, which the people in politics, they use those exact same rules or deductions or whatever. So it's like, people in politics put these rules in place and they follow those rules so that they pay the least amount of taxes. Do you see kind of what I'm saying there?
Mm-hmm.
So, for these people who are trying or who are protesting not to impeach him, do they really understand what he stands for? Do they have a good understanding of what socialism is, what their Constitution says, what the Constitution is trying to protect them from, which is, of course, dictatorship and being slaves again, basically. So, I think the job of the congressman is to protect the values of the country, as long as it follows, of course, human rights. Make sure that people are spoken for, but to also protect them from themselves to an extent. You of course, don't want overreach.
But I also feel like there's a lot of moral obligation.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like a lot of times it's like they're not going to follow that.
Mm-hmm. The congressman?
No. In any government,
Mm-hmm.
they're not going to. Not really.
Yeah.
Because it really comes down to their character. I feel like that's the thing. It's like that's why like when it comes to politics, my personal opinion, I don't give a freaking crap. I don't care what you promise. I don't care. I don't care if you promise me gun rights. I don't care if you promise abolishing abortion. I don't care. Will you or will you not? We'll know when you get into when you get voted in.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times they'll say like whatever they have to say to it. But I like look at their character, you know? Which is why like I know that some people might give me heat for this. But you can't deny this. I don't care what side of the politics aisle you are. You cannot deny this. The reason why Trump won is because everybody knew that he was a loose cannon and that he was going to do what he said he was going to do. There's no denying that. But the thing is, like, that's why I like, it's rough. You know? Because when I look at politics and politicians and I look at their character, you know? That's why, like, I don't know. When I look at a candidate, I try to look at their history, first of all. Like, I don't care what you promise. Like, I'm a changed man. I'm here for you. I'm working for you. I'm like, I don't care, bro. I'm looking at your actions. You've done jack crap. What are you talking about?
Yeah, there's actually, to one of the podcasts that I was listening to, they actually made a point to that of, and of course this was an older podcast, so it was during the election time of between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. But he was like, he said exactly what you said. Look at their history. Joe Biden has been in office or in a political office for 50 plus years, just about, for a really long time, 35, whatever. And what's he accomplished for the people? And Donald Trump was in there for 4 years, and what did he accomplish for the people?
Exactly. And speaking of Biden's blunders, let's talk about the prisoner exchange.
Goodness. Oh my gosh.
You're gonna give you guys
you're gonna get me fired up about this.
All right, we're gonna give you a little recap. What's going on? So, the United States decided to do a prisoner swap with Russia. It was between the WNBA star Brittany Griner, who was arrested in Russia for drugs, for an arms dealer known as the Merchant of Death. So basically, WNA star Brittany Griner was freed from Russian captivity Thursday in a prisoner exchange for the notorious Russian arms dealer. President Joe Biden announced. Griner, who was arrested in February at Moscow airport after being caught with marijuana vaping materials, was sentenced in August to 9 years in prison. The 6'9" athlete plays for the WNBA's Phoenix Mercury and had flown to Russia to furnish her sentencing for UMC when she was arrested. Moments ago, I spoke to Brittany Griner. Biden tweeted earlier Thursday from the White House, where he was joined by Griner's wife, Sheryl Griner. She is safe. She's on the plane. She's on her way home. After months of being unjustly detained in Russia, held under intolerable circumstances, Brittany will see soon back in the arms of her loved ones, as she could have been there for a long time. This is a day we've worked hard for a long time and never stopped pushing for her release. U.S. diplomats have been scrambling to win her release, but the efforts were complicated by Russia's international isolation as a result of his invasion of Ukraine. The U.S. agreed to swap the prisoner arms dealer Victor Bout, an international criminal known as the Merchant of Death. The U.S. had a hope that to win the release of Paul Willman, a Michigan man and former Marine jailed in Russia since December 2018 on espionage charges that the U.S. government said are baseless. But the deal set was being announced on Thursday was a one-for-one, sources said. Willen's brother, David Willen, said in a statement that his family is glad that Brittany Griner is on her way home, but said the family remains heartbroken that Paul Willen remains in prison. David Willen said, despite the possibility that there might be an exchange without Paul, or our family is still devastated, I can even fathom how Paul will feel when he learns about this. Paul has worked so hard to survive nearly 4 years of injustice. His hopes has soared with the knowledge that the U.S. government was taking concrete steps for once towards his release. He'd been worrying about where he lived when he got back to the U.S. So basically, in summary, we have a Marine over there that's been in prison for 4 years.
Is it a Marine or Navy SEAL?
Marine.
Okay.
for espionage charges, which the U.S. government says baseless. And we did not exchange him. We exchanged our WNBA star because nobody watches that. Let's be honest. I don't want to hear it. Ain't nobody watching that.
No comment.
Gets arrested for marijuana charges, and we trade him for an arms dealer known as the Merchant of Death.
Do you know what he's responsible for other than having a really cool nickname?
Go for it, bro.
No, I was asking.
No, educate the public.
Bro, now I gotta look this stuff up.
Oh, I thought you did.
No.
Basically, I'm really upset.
Dude, what is he called? Merchant of Death?
Yes. His name is Victor Bao. It is okay. I want you guys to answer this honestly. All right, I don't want to hear any lying about this.
So, he was dubbed the Merchant of Death and the Sanction Buster for his ability to get around arms embargoes. Bao was selling weapons to rogue states, rebel groups, and murderous warlords in Africa, Asia, and South America. Even so, Bao's origins remain a mystery. So basically, this dude helped provide a lot of weapons for a bunch of terrorist groups and violent organizations, basically inciting violence worldwide. And of course, my question is, well, like, one of my thoughts about the United States saying that it was baseless charges. Wait, so espionage is basically spying, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Don't they kind of have to deny that, though?
Yeah. I mean, Russia denied Victor Bao because he was arrested in Thailand in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
It was a sting operation, and he was convicted in U.S. court in 2012 for supplying weapons to a terrorist organization and conspiring to kill Americans. So,
Dang.
The Secretary of State of Antony Blinken said in late July that the U.S. had made a substantial proposal to the Kremlin to secure the release of Griner. So they basically negotiated this, and I'm gonna ask this to the audience. Here's the thing: put politics aside. I don't care if you're left or right. I don't care. I want you to answer this question honestly. Do you think it's fair? Human life, super essential, super important. But do you think it's fair to trade a person that conspired to kill Americans, who is responsible for giving weapons all over the world,
To violent groups, by the way.
with somebody that was smoking weed?
The world's not fair.
I cannot believe this. I am very upset.
Although, here's an interesting point.
This is stupid!
I know it's stupid, but here's a devil's advocate question.
Oh my gosh.
You're gonna hate me for it.
I'm gonna hate you.
Yeah, you're gonna hate me for it. But here's the thing. Here's a question that somebody might propose. Is what was the Marine's name?
His name was
Paul. Is it Paul?
Yeah. It was David Willen. No, Paul Willen.
Paul Willen. So he was trained up to be a Marine to endure these hardships in the times of war, whatever. This WNBA player trained their calves, I guess. Like.
Oh my god.
So the argument would be and of course this is not my opinion, but he's better suited for that, in quotations, air quotes for those listening through Spotify or whatever, better suited for that environment than she would be. So what do you guys say to that?
That's a dumb question. First of all,
It is not a dumb question.
I don't care if you're okay. Prison is prison, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, maybe,
But he was trained up to be in harsh conditions.
Yes, he might have been trained up to be in harsh conditions, yada yada, right? But here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to use that comparison. But
He says, "Do I want to get canceled
do I
today
wanna
or
get
tomorrow?"
canceled? Listen, I don't care. Listen, I'm not gonna be okay. If it's like if my person was spying on you, and then I have your guy that supplies you weapons.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sure, that's a pretty fair deal, I would say. But I'm not gonna trade somebody that, like, you know, nobody watches, nobody cares for.
I mean, they're still in business, so you can't say nobody watches because there's obviously people who watch it because they're still in business.
Did anybody know who this person was? Did you know?
I don't watch sports.
I know who this was.
All I'm saying is they're still
Audience,
from a
be honest.
From a business perspective, the WNBA is still in business. They still make at least enough to pay the players, enough to play the organizations.
I want to hear a logical explanation of why.
Money.
No. Who was first? He was in prison since 2018.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if I'm in line to be the next person released because they're negotiating my release, and the person who was just arrested this year is released before me, I would be furious.
Do they have a line? You just said if I was in line.
If I was in line,
that's what I'm asking. Is there a line of prisoners that were like, okay, next person in line, we're gonna negotiate terms of release?
this happens. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know that. I don't know.
I would be furious, bro. I would be so upset if I was like, man, I've been in prison for 4 years of Russian incarceration. Oh, by the way, the U.S. is negotiating for your release. Oh, let's go. Oh, they decided to not go with you. They decided to go with that WNBA star that I forgot her name. You know, Griner or whatever.
Griner, yeah.
Over you, and she's only been in here since February. Oh, by the way, they traded her for an arms dealer, a notorious arms dealer. Audience, I'm trying to paint this as beautifully as I can. People be like devil advocate. Every human life is essential. It's important. God created all of us, and every life is important. It's essential, and God desires for us to be in a relationship with Him. I will agree to that. So
agreed.
I will agree with that. But I will not agree over this injustice that happened to our fellow soldier in arms. Oh my gosh.
No. I do want to preface that I do agree with you. I do think that a person of the same value should have been traded. So basically a Russian stoner for this person.
American stoner.
For American stoner. I mean, in all honesty, like, should she have been doing that? No.
All right. To give props.
No. Let me finish. So, basically, they should have traded for somebody of equal value. Why?
That sounds really bad, but yes.
Yes. Meaning, we should not be trading an arms dealer for a basketball player. Like, in the world of politics and war, and a basketball player is not going to dunk a grenade on somebody.
If anything, this makes us look so weak.
Exactly. Like, I know... Wait, who was it? Was it FDR who said... No. Was it George? I think it was George Bush Sr. who said, we will not trade with terrorists.
We will not negotiate with terrorists?
Yeah.
That was not senior. It was...
Junior.
What?
Junior.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But it's like we of course value American life over everybody because that's our people, that's our culture. But for the American who went to lay down his life for all 333 million Americans, and we gave up an arms dealer, a very important arms dealer,
that killed our people.
For a basketball player. Now, to me, the value based on politics, wartime, everything like that, not actual human life, because every human life is invaluable, but looking at it from the plane of politics, that's a terrible trade
And you can't. I don't care who you are. You cannot tell me this was absolutely politically driven.
But what do they have to gain from it?
It just looks better.
Looks better.
It just looks socially. It looks better. Let's be honest.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna be honest here, guys. I'm trying to be honest with y'all and straightforward. Am I biased? Yes, but I don't care. I'm telling you the truth here. All right, you cannot tell me logically. I will give them props because they were negotiating for the release of both of them originally. Cool, but then they decided, you know what? Let's go with the NBA star, WNBA star.
You know what would look better if they got both of them?
I mean, yeah, but they couldn't.
Whatever.
I mean, Tom Hanks in The Bridge of Spies did better. That movie's great, by the way.
You know, let's see. When we crippled Russia's economy in a day because we put such heavy trade embargoes on them, we crippled their entire wartime endeavors because of that.
It's an injustice!
And we can't get back one of our guys. We can't get back 2 people for one guy. We're America. Like,
let's as southern as I can be, let's go blow them commies up. No, I'm just kidding. No, but seriously, guys, like, as the audience, I want you guys to reflect on this. I think, yes, the life is essential, and every single one of them is super important. I will as a Christian, I testify to that. And on the political plane, you have to answer this question honestly, please. Is it logical or illogical? This is for you guys. Once again, comment down below what you guys want us to talk about next and everything like that, and then what you guys think about this situation, because I am curious.
Yeah, your opinion is valuable, and it gives us feedback on how we can respond in the next one, how we can make it your podcast. So let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyways, I'm gonna pray us out because I mean those were 2 heavy subjects I feel very passionate about as a Peruvian and as an American.
As a
Stop.
A Peruvian.
Dear Lord, thank you for everything you've given us. Thank you for bringing us here in fellowship, being able to talk about these things. I pray for my country that you help all the things that's going on there, because it's a very heavy toll on my family as I hear about news back home, and I pray that you will ease the pain in my country. I also pray for Mrs. Griner, that you will. Thank you for allowing her to come home safely. I will say that. Thank you for allowing her to come home safely. I pray that you will use this as an opportunity to present yourself to her and maybe move within her to understand your character. And I continue to pray for Mr. Willen as he's still in prison in Russia, that you will have his release soon and bring him home safely. Please, Lord, allow his family to have that rest in their hearts. And I will also pray for Victor Bout, the arms dealer. I pray that you will change his heart. He is a notorious arm dealer, yes, but you are a God of miracles, and I know you can move in anybody. Thank you for all that you have done for us, dear Lord. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Anyways, guys, thank you for joining us, and join us again on Wednesday for our highlight reel podcast. Thank you for
don't we have a guest?
We do. We will have a. His name is Tate Bloodsworth.
Dude, that's a dope name.
It is.
I love his name, bro. He's such a cool dude.
But anyways, stay tuned for that. We'll see you next time, guys.
Peace.